Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought we would do something a little bit different. I've seen a few videos where people discuss adult books for YA readers, so like an introduction to fantasy, fantasy for beginners, that sort of thing. But I've never seen anyone do a video where they recommend YA books for adult readers. So I've been quite lucky that I've always been a reader since I was a young child, through my teenage years and now into my adulthood. I have always read, and so I never had a break, whereas I do know that some people, either they might discover reading as an adult, or they might have read as a child and then rediscovered their love for it as an adult. So there's this whole stretch of time, which is young adult, which they have missed out on. And although there is the preconception that YA is easy to get into, there's also this idea that it's somewhat flawed, that the characters are all teenagers, it's cringy, cheesy, angsty romance, people making stupid decisions, that as an adult you can't relate to the characters in YA. All of these preconceived notions about YA and who it's for in the market. And that's not always the case. Yes, there are some YA books which aren't the best, aren't well written, but that's the same for any demographic. That's the same for middle grade, and that's the same for adult. That you are always going to find good books and bad books. So I have a list here of some great YA books which I think if you are an adult reader you will be able to enjoy and connect with the characters and connect with the plot. I have some books, and then I also have just some authors in general that I think write YA quite well. To start us off, so if you are used to reading adult, then you probably know Brandon Sanderson. But Brandon Sanderson has actually written some great YA books. So going in as an adult reader, you already know, or hopefully you know, that you like his writing style. You know that as an author he works well for you. So it's easy to change and see what his YA stuff is like. There is a slightly different writing style between his adult and YA books. I find that it is slightly easier to read. There isn't so much complex world building, but both of these are really good YA stories. I would say that with both of these books there is limited romance in them, so if you aren't a fan of that trope then you're safe going in here knowing that the relationships that are in these books are predominantly friendships and familial relationships. So yes, this one is a magic school setting following our main character Joel, as he doesn't have any magic but he wants to have magic. The magic system is that people could draw lines in chalk on the ground and those chalk images would come to life. And then Skyward is a sci-fi set in space where you're following our main character Spencer, who is training to become a fighter pilot in the war against the aliens. Next, I would like to talk about An Ember in the Ashes by Sabata Tahir. This is a Roman-inspired fantasy, and you're following three main characters. So you're following our main character Leia, Elias and Helene. Leia is of the scholar class and they are oppressed by Elias's caste as he is a soldier in the military. So at the start of the book, Leia's brother is taken captive and she is attempting to infiltrate the military school to get information on where he is being held and to try and rescue him. The reason I think this will work for adult readers is because it has some darker themes to it. It's a lot more complex than some other YA reads. It explores themes of slavery and of oppression, and there are some scenes in here which are quite dark in nature. So I would say if you enjoy a military training, infiltrating enemy lines, then I think this would work really well for you. Another author that I would recommend for an introduction to YA would be Patrick Ness. So Patrick Ness has written various books. He's been writing for years, it seems. So one of them would be the Chaos Walking series. So that is a dystopian world where there are only men and the men can hear each other's thoughts. And then one day our main character meets a female and he hears silence. As well as this, he's written More Than This, which is a LGBTQIA+ story following a boy who dies in the very first page and then he wakes up, and it's him exploring the concept of what follows after life and is there more to life after death, and that concept. And then finally his other one is A Monster Calls. So I feel as though all of his works would work well for adult readers, because in each of his series there are themes that are very much relevant for whatever stage of life that you're in, that his works don't just apply to a YA audience, that he is talking to both young people and adults. And yeah, I think the messages through his works can apply to you for whatever age that you are, and that you'll be able to get something from his works, something different from his works, if you read it at different stages of your life. Next, Scythe by Neil Shusterman I think will work for a predominantly adult reader. This is set in a dystopian world, and you're following two teenagers as they become apprentice scythes. And a scythe in this world is someone that goes around and kills the population. So it's quite dark, and in this world they have defeated death. There is no problems left with the world. There's no wars. The world is perfect, and there's an artificial intelligence that controls everything. And so the only way to maintain human population growth is by having these guys that go around and routinely cull the population. People are scared of them, but they know that if they get picked, there's nothing they can do. They can't get out of it. You're chosen. And some of them just go about randomly doing it. Some of them go, oh, back in time, 10% of people died in car accidents, so I'm going to kill 10% of people like that. And because of these darker themes, I think it will really appeal to those that read adult books. Yeah, because you're having to deal with the concept of death and mortality, as well as like the corruption within this system, like having the artificial intelligence control everything, and the corruption within the scythedom. Additionally, it has very limited romance, so there is a little bit of romance in here, but it's very much a subplot. So if that is not for you, then having that at the very background of the plot would works quite well in this. The final book that I would recommend today for a adult audience introducing themselves to YA would be Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. So this is a fantasy series, and you're following two main characters, Iseult and Safi. And they are the main relationship in the plot. They're best friends, and so you're following them and their friendship throughout this world. And there are romantic plots in this world as well, but it's their friendship that is at the forefront. And there are witches in this world, and different witches have different powers and strengths. And so Safi is a truth witch, which is very uncommon, and so she's able to tell if someone is telling the truth or not. And lots of people are out to control her because they are after this power that she possesses. So she has kept this power a secret her whole life. I would say that this book borders between YA and adult, that it sits right on the line between the two demographics. And I would say that like the complex friendships, the magic system, it has everything that could make it an adult book. I'd say as well, like it has political aspects to the fantasy world, like there are warring countries and there's prophecy. Like it has all the aspects to make it either a good borderline if you're moving up from YA to adult, or if you wanted to see what YA fantasy can be like. This doesn't have any of those really cringy moments. I wouldn't say it's not tropey. None of these books are particularly tropey. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of discussing books that would be a good introduction to YA for the adult reader. Please let me know if you have read any of these books and if you agree that you think that these are good introductions to YA. And I hope if you haven't read any YA that you might pick it up, because there are some really great books in the YA genre that a lot of the time get forgotten about or glazed over when you are, I mean, me as well, that so much of the time I am now reading adult fantasy that I forget how great YA can be. When it is done well, it is done really well. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye.